Welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in, downloading, or streaming another brand new episode of Just the Worst Podcast. I'm your host, Billy Donnelly, who you can find over at thisisinfamous.com as well as joeblow.com. And I'll be your host for the festivities here as we embark on episode number 4. And I got to tell you right out of the gate, I'm really excited about this one. This is a big one. Going to be joined by Diamond Dallas Page today. And let me just tell you, this isn't just any Diamond Dallas Page episode, or interview rather. Diamond Dallas Page and I got so locked into our conversation for this particular episode that it couldn't fit into one episode. We have actually now had to take the interview with Diamond Dallas Page and split it into 2 parts. So coming here, right out of the gate, I'm telling you right now, this is the first part of my conversation with Diamond Dallas Page. That's how huge this episode is. We couldn't even stick everything into one episode. Too much meat for this sausage. Sounded disgusting, didn't it? That was my phone, wasn't it? Sorry about that. I'm always good about turning that off. Yes, that splat is my phone noise. So there you go. So yes, Diamond Dallas Page will be joining us here in just a little bit as we start talking about, I'll get to that. Coming right out of the gate, though, let's talk about a couple of things. As we usually do on the episodes, usually try to talk a little bit about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling, at least as far as things that we can opine about, things that we can discuss, things that we can have some discussion on, for better or worse, as people who follow wrestling and as fans of wrestling. And there's a couple of things right now I think that are dominating the landscape. Number one is what's going on with NXT over in the WWE umbrella. As we listen to this, or as you listen to this right now, getting all prepared for NXT TakeOver Respect that'll be taking place on October the 7th. And here's where I'm really excited. Being down in Florida, Full Sail University is a hop, skip, and a jump away from me. Okay, if I really want to commit to going, I can. I could try to get there. It's a little bit of a hike, but I can get there if I make the effort. And in the past, I have tried my absolute hardest to make sure to schedule it in, or try to fit it into my schedule. I've really wanted a chance to go there and experience the atmosphere at Full Sail for an NXT show. And that's what I've wanted to do, whether it was a taping or one of the live takeover specials. My goal has been to get up there to NXT and see one of their shows. I've been before to an NXT show. I was in San Jose over WrestleMania weekend, which at that point was the biggest show they had done. And it was electric in there, inside the convention center. Or the University Center, whatever it was called. But I've wanted to see it in this smaller scale, on this more intimate level in Full Sail, where, you're talking only a few hundred people. The ring is right there. There's just a connection with the performers. I've been dying to get up there to see it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the week that I am making it happen. I've gotten a green light. And I will be in attendance for NXT TakeOver Respect. And that's a huge deal for me. I'm super excited about it. Because as we all know, I am an unbelievably gigantic Sasha Banks mark. Unapologetic about that. I don't even try to hide it. And to be there in what may very well be her last match inside Full Sail at an NXT event of this caliber, performing for the first time in the main event of a takeover. This is the first time that the women have been set up to headline a takeover event, and to be doing it against Bayley, who I believe the two of them put out one of the greatest, not only female matches of all time, but one of my favorite matches, period, of all time. And I'm putting it right up there with Steamboat Savage at WrestleMania 3. I'm putting it right up there with Undertaker Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, the first time. To me, Bayley and Sasha Banks not only stole the show, it just told such an emotional story that even being a huge Sasha Banks mark, I could not help myself from getting choked up with emotion at the story they had told with Bayley finally ascending to that next level. So to be there for the rematch of that, of what we saw at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, in the main event, and for it to be a 30-minute Iron Man match, that's incredible. Emotions will be running high on that particular night, I guarantee you. In addition to wrapping up the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which I hear will have both Cody and Dustin in attendance to present victory to the winner. I mean, I'm excited about going, but on this particular night, I'm really excited about going. I think there's just a lot of things that'll be coming into play and working all together at the right time to make what on paper may feel as if it's not as good as any of the other shows. I mean, you're not talking about an NXT title defense. You're talking about, some more debuts, a couple other feuds. You're talking about a few things coming together that may not have been at the level of previous shows, but those are always the ones that come in and surprise you. And the fact that 1/4 of the show is devoted to Bayley and Sasha Banks for the NXT Women's title in that Iron Man match to kind of cap off their rivalry, and what I imagine is going to be the send-off, the final send-off in NXT for Sasha Banks. Don't be surprised if next week on the show you hear what kind of a sobby, snotty bastard I was in attendance at Full Sail. Don't be surprised and I'm not going to hide it. If you manage to catch me on TV, maybe you might just see it. Just a mess. But it'll be worth it. So I'm really excited about NXT TakeOver. Respect, as I normally am, for any of the NXT TakeOver shows. But this one in particular, because I will be there live in attendance, it should be pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about, and we talked about this last show when Will Pruitt was here, just kind of talking about the overall creative direction of the WWE. I mean, granted, last week it was much more focused and targeted, just heat-seeking the Diva Revolution. But word continues to circulate that there is great concern creatively for what is taking place right now in the WWE. Both backstage and amongst the fan base. And guess what? Like, this isn't paranoia running loose up in Stamford. This is legitimate concern as the ratings continue to plummet for the flagship show, which is, of course, Monday Night Raw. Ratings already in for this week, which was headlined by Big E Langston taking the U.S. Championship Open Challenge against John Cena, after we had already seen some other things built, opening the show with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. We saw Seth Rollins in action with Kane against the Dudley Boys. But this is the fifth week in a row now for the WWE and Monday Night Raw, where their television ratings for Monday night have fallen under 3.4 million viewers. Last night, they were a slight uptick from the week before, but in the third hour, which they thought was going to be heavily based around John Cena and hyping who would challenge him for the U.S. title, the third hour ratings actually dropped. Now, look, I understand that this isn't the Attitude Era, and I don't want the Attitude Era to necessarily come about. I'm not trying to say like, oh, let's just do everything like we did 20 years ago. You know, that's not really the way to do it. Again, you gotta adapt to where we are now, as opposed to what worked before. But by that same so look, so we're not going to see ratings of like, you know, 5s and 6s and 7s. Could they get up to like 4s and 5s? I think so. But the problem is that you got to take some chances. The WWE needs to take some chances. And I don't know that they have, you know, to borrow a phrase from them, the testicular fortitude to do anything that rocks the boat. They've never been good, really, at rocking the boat. The Attitude Era came out of necessity, you know, kind of being threatened by WCW, with the Monday Night Wars on the horizon. They acted out of necessity. A survival instinct kicked in and said, well, let's do something a little bit different. Let's do something a little edgier, a little racier, a little more provocative. As we've seen now, they've moved back towards that PG era type of programming, which is fine. I got nothing wrong with it. I got kids. They enjoy the programming. They're into it. They love what, not love it, but they're into what's going on right now. And look, that's who the WWE is marketed towards. That's who they're targeting their programming at. That's who they're trying to lure in to watch their shows. Kids that start off at like 5 and get up to like 14. They want them. And people like me, people older than me, people slightly younger than me, the 18 to 34 demographic that they used to kind of go after, it's nice if they have them, but they consider some of those people the hardcore fans, the people that will always come back. The problem is that over time, some of those people have started to drop off. Unimpressed with what they see on a weekly basis. And what we hear now is word that Vince McMahon may be starting to micromanage the creative staff a little bit. Starting to micromanage what they put out there. Now, ultimately, that doesn't change too much from where we've been before, because Vince McMahon is the be-all and end-all of WWE programming. You can pitch, you can write, you can have whatever ideas that you want, but the buck stops at Vince McMahon when push comes to shove. He is the final say in just about everything. So if he likes something, it goes out. If he doesn't like something, it doesn't go out. But right now, as they continue to see their audience dip, as they start to see those ratings go down, as live attendance isn't all that it's been cracked up to be in the past, with WrestleMania 32 on the horizon and a dream of, once again, of breaking the indoor attendance record that they set at WrestleMania 3 in the Pontiac Silverdome, of having over 100,000 people there in attendance. It's going to be very hard to do that when your audience keeps dwindling. Now look, this isn't some kind of knock on like John Cena or some of the veterans who have been around for a while. But the time is starting to come. The time is here, actually. It's not... The time for consideration is past. The time right now is here to try and make some wholesale changes, fix the present, and build to the future. You can't get by just on John Cena alone anymore. You can't do it. Because one day John Cena's gonna leave and go away. And what then? Because you have these guys who you haven't really put the effort into to create them and elevate them to the next level. You have talent. Loads and loads of talent that could take those opportunities and run with them and give you a really solid, sound, thick roster. But when you're having a problem, when you look at it and you go, I don't really know who here could be a guy, not necessarily the guy, because I don't believe you need the guy. I think you need many guys. I think you need a guy or a guys. And I don't know that they've done what is needed to consistently to build that tier of superstar moving forward. Whether it's Kevin Owens or Neville or Cesaro or Dolph Ziggler or Rusev or Bray Wyatt. I mean, it's great that you have Brock Lesnar under your control. It's great that you can bring Brock Lesnar out as this must-see attraction, which he is. But the fact that you can't use him all the time, probably for good reason, means that when he's not around, you need other people who can be must-see attractions. People that you want to tune in to watch compete, that you want to tune in to watch in feuds, that you want to tune in to watch in the ring, in storylines. And right now, there's not a lot of that. There are some plenty of entertaining superstars on the roster. The New Day, the Dudleys being back, Kevin Owens, Dolph Ziggler. These guys are there and they are superb. But you gotta get behind them, make them mean something. That's how you help boost the viewers. That's how you help boost the attendance. You gotta start giving people something they haven't seen before. Because when you tune in on Raw and you watch what feels like the same lateral show week in and week out, that's not a good thing. First of all, there's just too much programming on TV for me to hate watch something or watch something that's not holding my interest, that's not delivering on entertainment value for me. I'm a huge Seth Rollins fan. I think he's great as a world champion, but you got to do something with him to make him a credible world champion. Continuing to have these inconsistent interactions with the Authority is really doing him no favors. You know what else is not doing him any favors? Sticking him in a main event against Kane. Kane's not a main eventer anymore. Kane's a nice part of your roster. But I don't know that anybody would be buying pay-per-views in the past or at this point subscribing to the WWE Network just for the idea of watching Kane challenge for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar as your main event inside Hell in a Cell for Hell in a Cell? Great! But are we also going to move towards a period where we have to have Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt again? Look, I understand there's a feud there, but it seems that they fight every single week. So the repetitive nature of it starts to wear away the specialness of what we're supposed to be getting into. And once again, Roman Reigns, another guy. I mean, look, they tried to do it last year between the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, and the fans turned on it because of how it worked. I think now, as they started to bring him along slowly and let him develop, let the crowd witness who he is, there's a better rate of success for Roman Reigns at this point. And once again, he's another guy you help build towards. Dean Ambrose, another guy you help build towards. This isn't a talentless roster or a mediocre roster. The roster is filled with people who are capable of doing so much. The WWE just needs to get behind them, give them a strong creative direction moving forward, give the audience what feels like something that is not predictable, feels like something that they haven't seen before, put people in positions that they haven't been before, offer up that brass ring for them to take, and see what happens. But right now, when you seem to just have kind of John Cena and then Brock Lesnar and then everything else, that doesn't help. You know, bringing in Brock Lesnar for a Raw just to pop the ratings is nice in theory. Short-term gain. No long-term benefit. Been a WWE fan all my life. I think they need to start rocking the boat a little bit again. In order to not just bring out the best creative product they can to satisfy the fans that they have, but to compel old and new fans to possibly tune in by watching something interesting. This is a fantastic era for television. So you got to give people something fantastic to watch on television to compete with all the other fantastic things on television. If you want to build those ratings and you want to maintain and grow your audience. So that's my piece for this week. All right, let's get on to the stockpile awesomeness of the show. He is a former WCW World Television Champion. He is a former 4-time WCW World Tag Team Champion. A former 2-time WCW United States Heavyweight Champion. A former 3-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He is the creator of the Diamond Cutter, as well as the creator of DDP Yoga. And right now, you can see him as a very key figure in the documentary The Resurrection of Jake the Snake. This is part 1 of my conversation with Diamond Dallas Page.
Hey, Billy.
So how are you, man? Doing all right?
Yeah, man. I have so much shit going right now. In my place, that our DDP Yoga Performance Center opens on Monday. I mean, literally, we're getting the final touches of the sign up, and the front cover of the place is fake windows because we need to make this soundproof for our DDP Yoga Performance Center, you know. So we have fake windows that we're putting like little light boxes in each one of the windows. I don't even know if the town's going to let me get away with it. But it's only pictures of before and afters of people. So you won't be able to miss my place no matter what. You know? And the before and afters will always be changing. And you see, I put over $2 million into this place. And over this period, like, it's the last time in the world, not time, but this is the last thing in the world I want to be doing right now is promoting the movie along with everything else I'm doing, but it's the only time you can do it, you know, because I wanted to be, because I have to go, I'm going on the road, I should be here for my company to open the doors, and I got great people, but there's just a lot going on, and the movie's just so friggin' hot right now. I mean, Josh Brolin saw it the other day and just he sent one of our producers an email, and it was just an unbelievable, beautiful. I'm waiting for him to ask him, can we use it? It was so beautiful, you know, what he wrote. You know, it was amazing.
Well, see,
everybody sees the flick is loving it, you know.
Yeah, well, well, let me ask you about the yoga too, because like I've long been a fan of DDP Yoga.
Stop, Billy. Yeah, okay, you're gonna stop you right there.
No, go ahead.
Never call my shit yoga. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, because you bring up the Performance Center, which is, obviously a huge step. DDP Yoga has been going for a while, and it's been building a devoted following and bringing on newcomers to the program who all seem to love it and recommend it. Nobody who has done it can say a bad word about it. Everybody seems to be getting tremendous benefit, and as a result, word of mouth is the best advertising you could ever possibly get. So with the Performance Center, I mean, what's that going to be like? And was this, one location, is that the first step towards an idea of making multiple locations, I guess? Like once you have the program set for home, expanding it, is that the clear next step for taking this to the next level?
Without question, but you have to understand when I built here, I built the place to get people so they can do live workouts. And I've got now over, and this is, remember, he just started doing certifications last year. It takes a while to understand getting certified how to do this, because it's completely different in yoga. Like, I like yoga teachers who don't get it because they want to say, we're charged to heaven so the universe smiles back at you. Ours is nothing like that. DDP Yoga, first of all, you have to understand, it's boot camp. It's called like boot camp, but there's no impact. In the moves are yoga positions, rehab, old school calisthenics, dynamic resistance is engaging muscles, like almost lifting weights, but with no weight. What I built over here is 6,300 square foot. When Austin, Stone Cold, when you see, are you a subscriber to my YouTube channel?
Absolutely.
All right, where do you see Austin? And catch his podcast. I think it goes up tonight. Him and Jake. Dude, he was blown away. He was one of my closest friends, and he's known about the entire thing the whole time. He walked in, he's like, dude. He's like, I wanted to go to lunch, right? And he's trying to go, this place is unbelievable, because I was expecting a little box. 1,000, 2,000 square feet. You got a monster, gorgeous building here. And he's trying to get by me, and I'm like, blocking him. I want to get this on film. I want you to see, I want to catch you as we're going through this. And if I would have had a camera there, I would have got crazy reactions, but because he was just like, oh my God. And I pushed him outside. I'm like, no, we're going to lunch first. And he came down to film. He came down to do, he wanted to be right at the top of it. When he saw the movie, he saw the first cut of our movie. How a movie will change. He saw the first cut, and then the last cut, he was blown away. He gave us the greatest, and Steve Austin doesn't see. He goes, yeah, it was good. He won't put shit over. He's not who he is, And even for me, I've been his brother for fucking 25 years, but he won't even put my shit over unless it's mind blowing. So the place is the corporate headquarters. So I've got all my offices, I've got my boardrooms, I've got my lockers and all that stuff. I've got my room that's for rehab. That's the only area where you'll see like machines and stuff. So for people's for knee injuries, hip injuries, and I'm talking about coming back from surgeries, things you need to do. An encumbered bike. But just one. Just stop in one little room. That's not the focus. But it is for people who come up with surgery. You're going to need to use some of this stuff too, along with DDP Yoga. So I want to have that there. And on the other side is 5 edit bays, some place for my graphic artists, and I don't know if you've ever heard of a TriCaster, but a TriCaster will run. You've seen the movie, like movies where they go to the truck, mm-hmm. or they go to the spot where all the TVs are at, like a newsroom.
Yeah.
They go to camera 1. Right now, camera 4. I go back to 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like shit like that. A TriCaster now does that on a computer screen. So you could go to YouTube if you want to. You can go to NBC News if you want to. You can go to whatever you want. It's a television station. And technically, that's what is in the next room you're about to walk into, which is this big, long hallway that looks something very similar to Shark Tank, but actually cooler. And it's got brick all the way down, and these cool lights are like Edison lights, and a lot of funky, cool-looking wood, 2,300 square foot performance center. People have yoga studios. I have a performance center. It's production. It's for production. Like what we're going to do there on the left, you'll see the workout area, and really the whole place is the workout area. But as you walk into the right of the stage, it's 18 inches high and 30 feet wide and 12 feet deep, and then if you go, let's look to the left, it's 60 feet long and 38 feet wide, and that's my flooring there. On the opposite side of the staging is a 30-foot green screen that's 18 feet high, and when we lay the flooring down, it's 20 feet deep. So now I could do DDP Yoga on the moon. Like, that'll be the first thing we film as a work. That's the bullshit. Okay, we do work. If they were on the moon, guys, they were on Mars, we're going to have fun with shit like that. But I'm also going to bring in the whole kids aspect of DDP Yoga. I've got so many kids. I'm talking about, I think, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, doing it with their parents, right? Some of them, they send me videos of the kid doing it just with me. So I made up even more fun moves and more fun names to do stuff with kids, but not just with me. I can stick any animated thing behind a green screen, right?
Yeah. And
I'm doing a movie called Gods and Secrets right now. Gods and Secrets is a movie by Hadi Shankar that I'm doing. I'm playing a superhero. And I was a little kid in one part called Little Wing. And he's a 10-year-old kid. And I thought, God, if he loves doing my workout, I get him dressed as a friggin' superhero. I get a girl dressed as a superhero. And then I stick some crazy, cool animated background scene. So kids can be having fun doing it with, Nighthawk, doing, sort of like, my Superman guy, my Batman guy. So that's something we're going to bring out that no one's had before. And if you're on the stage and look to the left, we've got this badass, kitchen that we've built for our cooking shows. So I might do a cooking show with Jake or Scott, or maybe Scott's got this thing he calls dude food. it's quick, it's easy, and you can make it eat in 10 minutes, But my wife will do stuff, my daughter will do stuff because we want people to, it's more of a lifestyle thing that we're trying to teach here, how to eat real food, because a lot of people want to do it, and then do a workout that doesn't beat your body up. Now, all of this I built for DDP Yoga now, which no one has done anything like this. Like, I'll give you an example. Beachbody, who's the biggest company in the world, they have, I don't know, 100 different friggin' infomercial things they used to do, from hip hop abs to P90X to whatever. As they say, there are 15 products they have.
Yeah.
You can now go online, and instead of buying their DVDs, you can pay 38 something. Comes out to $2.99 a day, or $2.99 a week. I think it's $2.99 a day. It's $2.99 a day, and pay $38.83 every 3 months. But there's just their DVDs, and that's what it is. You get the food stuff or whatever, but ours is going to be interactive. Not only will we have all our workouts up on the channel so you can get it sort of like Netflix, I'm going to be doing live workouts. And I never do the same workout. So there's going to be crazy amount of workouts that are going to be up over a period of time. It's going to go right into the queue. And we track you with this, it's something that we should talk about later, because I'm going to release this interactive app, a subscription-based app. I'm going to release it on Black Friday. But that's what I built this place for. So you could be in Uganda, and if you got an internet connection, you could be working out with me live.
Very cool.
Or on all my tapes. So, I'm in a spot where I don't have to go anywhere. It's all going to be here. And that's the future, we all watched our music go from, records to 8-track to cassettes.
Yeah, it's all digital now.
To CDs, now it's all digital. Well, it's amazing that DVDs are still around, but that's why you see someone like Beachbody go and take all their digital and putting it on their computer, which you can play on your iPhone or your Droid or whatever, but it's not interactive, and it doesn't, like I've made it first, and this is hysterical, something you'll see. Like I say, you got my number now, so you stay in touch with me, go through this. I'll make sure you get the program so you can see it.
Excellent.
We created the first DDP video wake-up alarm clock. So instead of going beep, 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 it goes beep, beep, boop, you touch it, and then bang, goes, yo, get out of bed. It's my face on your phone. We've already got a couple in the can, but with our green screen, we're going to be able to create crazy shit. We've got 100 different ideas. Like there's a part where it goes, don't make me get up, don't make me come in there. Get out of bed, get on the mat, time for your DDP Yoga, monkey. And then he hits snooze. And then another screen comes up and goes, seriously? You thought there was a snooze button? Come on, get out of bed.
Well, it's true because the way we consume our media now, our habits, everything has become digital, and with social media, everything is interactive. So to see you on the wave of being ahead of that and being in tune with that, where a lot of people aren't, they're still archaic in their way of thinking. That's pretty crazy to say, like, well, everybody's opening locations and gyms, but that costs lots of money to do that. Studios to do that. The overhead is less, and we can spread it out much easier. We can distribute it much easier.
And I still have. I've got over 100. I have over 100 instructors. It's pretty cool. There's another 200 in the queue, but they're all over the world. I've got a couple guys in Canada, New Zealand, England, Ireland. It's like it's great all over the country, and the people who teach it are so many people. It heals, so it takes them out of pain. Like Mark Sklerin, right? He just I'll find you a tweet and I'll send it to you. But it says something like, first of all, he did DDP Yoga. He felt a difference in the first week. Like, I can't believe it. I'm already feeling better. And 2 weeks later, he wrote on Twitter, when you're a former wrestler or football player, you've got your spot in your house where you lean up on the wall to put your pants on. Because you can't not lean on the wall or you sit on the bed. Mm-hmm. And he wrote, first time I've been able to stand up and put my pants on without leaning on the wall or the bed in 12 years. Like, this shit works. Mm-hmm. And, it heals your body. And the weight loss thing that comes with it, again, I never developed it for weight loss. I developed it to heal my body, because my lower back was blown out. And because of the dynamic resistance, and I know you're right, this is all about Jake and what we're doing, but it gives you some background about something. So you have background on what we're doing. What happened was, I just started wrestling when I was 35. My career took off when I was 40. I was in 96, 97, 98. It was on top of the world. And then I blew my back out, ruptured my L4 and L5. They said I was done. Around that time, I'm a guy, and it's important if we ever write something about this. I'm the guy who wouldn't be caught dead doing yoga. Mm-hmm. That was me. I made fun of it. Like all my buddies do. So I get it. But I needed something that was going to get me back in the ring, and regular rehab wouldn't do it. And I had been stretching my entire career, so it's not stretching; it's stretching and strengthening not just muscles but ligaments and tendons. That's why guys who do any kind of yoga don't get hurt as easily. My thing, though, was the grabbing of the dumbbells with no dumbbells and creating that movement, engaging the muscles. I figured out, and it really is a push-up, so I figured it out. Every time you flex or engage a muscle, your heart has to be faster to get the blood to the muscle. So here's what I just developed by accident. DDP Yoga is kick-ass cardio, dramatically increase your flexibility and strengthen your core like never before with minimal joint impact. Now, how I got Jacob Scott doing it is that disabled veteran video. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so that's everywhere. It's got 12 million views just on my page, right? So people, I was eating last night at my favorite Thai place, and this woman who owns the place goes, I have to apologize because they don't want to apologize. They don't know who I was or something. Like, I don't care. But they have to apologize because they didn't know who I was. One of my friends from Thailand sent me the video of the disabled veteran that you helped. I'd seen it before, and I was like, "Oh my God, you know him?" But that video is really what helped give our company such credibility, because I could show it to Jake, and I go, "I know you're beat up. I know you're hurt. I know you're really overweight. I know you feel miserable. I know you hate life. But just watch this video. Just watch this video, and you can't not be moved." Mm-hmm.
Well, see, I saw. I was checking out, like everything that's going on. And I even saw that you have Stevie Richards is a DDP yoga instructor, and I know he was beat up and in bad shape for quite some time, as a result of his time in the ring. I mean, is that how that also kind of came about to bring him in and him getting on the program and seeing what it does and it helping him recover and feel better?
Absolutely. And if you're a wrestling fan, you know who Stevie Richards is. You know what I mean? So, Stevie never made the main event, but he was a very visible wrestler because he was a fun character, and he was a damn good wrestler. And he's still wrestling. He just went away this weekend and wrestled. But at 40, he's at 41 now. But he's in a tremendous shape. He was, he started doing it. He was the guy. Like, if you're in too much pain, you don't want to quit. You don't care what other people think. He would put his, and people would tell me all the time, man, Stevie Richards loves your stuff, man. He's got the DVDs and he puts it in his computer and he's doing a workout before he goes in the ring. And I was like, wow, that's friggin', like, he really gets it. So I called him up and I said, Stevie, I said, I take care of the boys, I just sent it to them, and I sent it to a lot of people, like people who have no money. Like we have the DDP Yoga Hardship Fund, which was started by one of my instructors. Like she said, so what do you think of this, blah, blah, blah. I said, they got to qualify. Because I would do it all the time. Like there's people, I have no money, I have no this and that, please help me. So I developed what Arthur did. And I made it, Arthur, I never told him to do it, he did it on his own.
Yeah.
Because I have a thing, take the pictures, take the measurements, start a food journal, set goals. And then there's a couple movies to watch which will smarten you up about food, like Food Inc., Genetic Roulette, Fed Up, which Katie Couric did. Like, if you watch those 3 movies, now I can talk to you. Like, I got a 15 or 16-year-old kid who's like 300-something pounds. One of my buddies is working with his mom and trying to help him, but he's a humongous wrestling fan. And he said he'll do whatever I want him to do. So I had him do all of that stuff first. My buddy Kent just called me yesterday from Baltimore. He goes, okay, what's the next step? I said, as soon as I find out, he made sure he watched all the movies and everything, I'm going to call this kid up. And I'm going to help him. I got a kid in Alaska, 681 pounds.
Jeez.
He has been blowing people away. Again, do all these things. I will help you personally. Not every day, but you're going to, once we start and you start putting the work in, this kid in 5 months has lost 173 pounds.
Wow.
I got a guy 510 pounds who fucking lost 280 pounds in 13 months.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's crazy. Again, it was never about weight loss; it's about healing my body.
Yeah, it's an added bonus. It's
a big turn, but now Jake, and Jake. Oh yeah, Jake and Dick and Scott. People see that they do that. Jake though, he was doing so amazing. Now, as far I don't know this Jake Roberts, and when I say that, I've never known a Jake that's been straighter than a couple of months. Even here, he fell. You see the fall that he fell. He was like 6 times. So I never really saw him straighter than 3 months. And your brain doesn't start to defog, I have found, till about a year. Like, you got to be sober a year to really start to get clear and realize, okay, this is better for me than where I was. But the conversations that I have with Jake today, like he invited me over his house for like barbecue for Labor Day, and I went over there with another friend of ours, Kyle, who's also in the movie, and both of our lawyers, and we put me. I walked out of there. I go, dude, is that crazy or what? He's a normal person. Well, as close to normal as Jake Roberts can be. But Austin interviewed him for his podcast, and just friggin', blown away by, how Jake's mind is coming back, at 60 years old. Like he likes himself for the first time in 60 years. He's doing the right thing. And that's how you start to love yourself, by doing the right thing and being proud of yourself. So, Arthur was so pivotal coming in. And the first thing I got the boys doing was eating real food. And if you had watched the movie Food Inc., Genetic Roulette, which deals with all, wheat, dairy, soy, corn, all that, or Fed Up, which is about sugar,
mm-hmm.
you just get a whole different stew on life.
Yeah, because you're just putting garbage and just processed stuff in your body. I mean, it's like legal poison that you're right. Putting into your body, right. which doesn't help, and it becomes that's an addiction in and of itself. Is eating unhealthy food, which just continues to exacerbate your health.
And the thing is, the worst addiction that is out there is sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And in our country, like if you go to Europe or you go to friggin' Australia, there's nowhere near the amount of sugar that's in food because we put out all these things of no fat, low fat, no fat. Well, if they take the fat out,
they got to put something in it.
It'll taste like cardboard.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, more sugar. And that they say that, the things that go up on your brain, that's like, okay, that works like cocaine. The addiction of cocaine and the addiction of sugar are on the same level. So trying to break someone down, and that's the hardest for, some people can eat it. Some people can eat plastic. But
that doesn't mean you should.
Right. The three things that are the biggest things for, to inflame your body, that cause pain and discomfort, inflammation. Inflammation is caused so much by the food that we eat. And wheat, dairy, and sugar are like the top three, that cause inflammation. They make you feel like shit. So when you get on the real food and you stop eating, everything that's so processed down and genetically modified, that's the biggest thing. I get my people off of genetically modified food, and there'll be people who go, oh man, you're crazy. Genetically modified, they developed in the lab. It's good for us. It's like, no, it's not. God didn't create that shit. How many years before we had real medicine? How many years were people getting, get sick and didn't die because they ate food? There's herbs and there's so many things that are natural that people like. Chinese medicine goes back 5,000 years. There was no prescription drugstores. They ate food, they ate herbs, they ate stuff that helped heal their body. And what I've watched, what really was crazy to me, watching Arthur, who couldn't walk without the knee braces, the back brace, and the canes. He was 297 pounds, 5'6". For him, he just wanted his only goal was to lose 50 pounds. So the doctors could reoperate on both of his knees so that he could walk without the aid of the knee braces, back brace, and canes. Arthur, on my program, and my healthiest program, because there's certain people that go right to phase 3 because they're too overweight or they're too beat up. And it's just to start to heal their body from the inside. Arthur lost 34 pounds the first month, 22 the second, 18 the third. That's 74 pounds in 3 months. In 10 months, he lost 140 pounds. He really only needed to lose 120. More importantly, he lost the knee brace, the back brace, and the canes, not just to walk, but to run. More importantly, he's never had the knee operations. So that's a great workout that doesn't beat your body up, but that's the food.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you about Jake and Scott, sure. Because yep. I know that you don't like to take credit for these. You like to put the credit in the hands of the people who are putting in the work. They decided to help themselves, and they did this. But there is something very special that you did along the way, because they have a kind of a history of the trouble. The thing that I saw, and especially that I took from the movie, that you did that was special in this equation, was that you took, guys that had kind of been written off as lost causes for quite some time. They'd been through rehabs, they'd tried a number of different ways. But for some reason, you were able to instill hope in them that this time could be different. Where does that kind of start, that, dealing with people who have experienced such lows for such a long time, that they trust and are able to believe that this time is going to be the time that changes, that there's a turnaround?
Well, I think, first of all, with Jake, it was never done by design.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have known the pitfalls of addiction, I don't know, if I would have done it. I don't know, but once they were in, I'm not going to, let's start with Jake. Once he was in, I wasn't going to, turn my back on my buddy. The main reason I brought him in was because he helped me so much. And Scott would come in later for a cry for help, not from him, but from Sean Waltman,
Mm-hmm.
And Jake was doing so good, I thought, well, so many people were saying, God, you're doing so great with Jake. Can you help Scott? And I figured, yeah, you know what? It's here. It's happening on this conversation. Let's just go for it. The thing that I knew that I had to get them, my goal was to get them to stop hating themselves. That was because they both have shame in their lives. And every addict, every person with addiction that I've learned from Jake and Scott, especially Jake, is about the shame. And trying to, everything, it's like, I call it self-talk. It's the story we tell ourselves. And, it took a while to come around to it. I actually started to talk about it at the end of the movie, like right at the end when we're sitting in the ring, and I said, it comes down to the story we tell ourselves. And one day, because the tribulations of the up and down of Jake, well, Scott was here. He was an angel, when it came to doing the right thing for himself. He didn't fall until he left. But then he'd get back up and he'd do great. And then he'd fall and he'd get back up and he'd do great. He went through it after. Jake pretty much went through it when he was here. So it was really two different ways, but it really came down to, the story you tell yourself. And I would say to him, let me ask you guys a question. And I did something with them, we did it together. Because I brought this up numerous times. I would say, so let me ask you, before you went to the ring, while you were tying your boots up, were you saying to yourself, oh God, I hope I don't suck. I hope people don't hate me. Oh God, I hope I don't fail. Oh, I'm going to be horrible. Hell no. You were thinking as you're lacing up your boots, I own this building. I am the king of the world. I am going to be the showstopper. I am going to steal the show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you had that much confidence in yourself. Why couldn't you have it yourself when you left the ring? Because you just did what so few people could do. And again, now they both get it. And Jake would tell, he would be in one interview after another. In the beginning, guys from Deadpool came down, and all Deadspin came down, and freaking Yahoo, mm-hmm. all these different writers came down. And in the beginning, Jake would tell this story, and he would get really into, the abuse, the childhood abuse, and this story that wouldn't leave his brain.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I just like, can you hold on 1 second, bro?
Yeah,
I told him aside, I go, dude, you gotta stop telling that story. Like, we know that story. You had a new story, and it's fucking amazing. You're turning your life around when no one believes in you. Nobody. Except for me. And that's, let's start to tell that story. So getting them to change, I gotta say self-talk. You're talking to yourself. It's, a lot of people call them, incantations or whatever. Another thing that I started to do, you'll see Jake in the beginning of the movie, one of the, he wears a lot of weird shirts, but one of them was called Wasted Youth. There was a skeleton with a flag, and it's a skeleton. It says Wasted Youth. And one day he was so bummed. I just don't know why I do this to myself, blah, 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 blah. He was getting really upset. I go, dude, come here. Walk over here with me. And I walk him into the bathroom, and he's wearing that T-shirt. I wish I had it filmed, but I didn't. And I said, what do you see? He goes, a loser, a fucking loser. I go, no, you're not a loser, dude. You've already done amazing things here, and you're not a loser. You gotta stop saying to yourself, but it's really tough for you to do that. What does that T-shirt say? And he realized what I was getting at. He dropped his head. I go, get that fucking T-shirt off. Throw it the fuck away. It should be like shirts like Never Give Up. It should be like fucking Unstoppable. And next thing you know, you're seeing Jake wearing shirts like Failure's Not an Option. My history's not my destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And like when I grew up in a I was reading at third grade level, age 30. At 31, I made the decision I was going to learn how to read. But I had to write down "read today" everywhere. So I'd read one page from Lee Iacocca's book, because that's what I decided my first book was going to be. But I had to remind myself every fucking day. I had it on my lamppost, my bed, my bathroom, my radio. For a year, everywhere there was read every day, read day. That's the same shit, Jake. Just tell yourself that you got this, you own this. So the bottom line was getting them to change the self-talk, change the story they tell themselves.
Well, yeah, because the physical part, the feeling better part, feeling less pain, getting in shape. That's only half of it. The other half does come down to the mental and the psychological, especially for Jake and Scott. It seemed that the physical turnaround, kind of it's something that happens, as you do the work anyway. But the examining the issues and leaving the past in the past and trying to move forward from that seemed to be really where they were able to turn that corner, and that's where you talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. That's where I think they were finally able to see a little bit of a glimmer out there as to what things could be, as opposed to just what they've always been.
And another thing is that self-talk is I developed something I call living life at 90%. And it's based on like 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it.
Mm.
And getting it like, dude, it's how you're reacting to the situation. Because I'll say the workout and the food was 10% of the equation. 90% is in your brain. What are you telling yourself? What is your self-talk knocking? What's it saying to you? And once they started to get through that, it made it easier, and it's still, still a roller coaster, as you stop. But each time I watched Jake get a little better, and the big thing was, they're both on antibiotics, and I don't know how long they're going to take it. I don't know, but for right now, they're taking it, because that's it doesn't make alcohol an option.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've gotten to a point now where I say, if you don't take that pill, that means you're making a conscious decision that you either think you got this or you want to drink. Because the last meeting I had with Jake, right before the big run, to the Hall of Fame and all that, the last meeting I had with him, I was like, listen, bro, this is how we're going to handle it this time. You're going to take that, you're going to go back, say, well, a lot of success taking that pill, and you're going to be nice to people. That's all you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And you got me. I'm here for the duration, and it just finally clicked in, and he realizes, like, I got to take that pill. And he knew it a couple other times along the way, but it just makes it not an option. And you take it out of your day. So now you can start to work on yourself.
Mm-hmm. Well, it becomes a change of habit. Now
Right.
The previous habit was drink, and when you do it regularly enough, it just becomes a usual thing, and as a result, you don't even think about it. Now it's changing the habit. So he's taking the pill. That's becoming the habit. The habit is to prevent the drinking, taking the step to prevent the drinking so that the bad things that follow the drinking don't continue to happen.
Exactly. So let's start right at the base of it. Let's start right here. And if we make it not an option, well, then it's going to change what happens, because everything starts with her action is a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, let's just cut that out. And it really cuts it out for a couple of days. Like, you have to consciously go, I'm not going to do it. And he would do that. But, if he wanted me to continue to stay involved, it's your choice, dude. I'm not making you do it. It may come out and sound like I am, but I'm not. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. I'm just not dealing with it again.
Yeah.
And when you make something not an option, like, failure is not an option to me. Some people it is. It's not an option to me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stick $2.5 million in the DDP Yoga Performance Center to fail. I was building it for success. I wasn't building it to fail.
Gonna have to cut in and leave you there. I know. I'm so sorry. Cliffhanger of sorts. Lots of great talk about DDP Yoga. Lots of great talk about the resurrection of Jake the Snake. And once again, lots of great talk about Jake the Snake Roberts and his amazing recovery. That is part 1 of my conversation with Diamond Dallas Page. For the rest of it, as we get a little bit deeper into his interactions and encounters with Jake the Snake Roberts and Scott Hall, as well as some of his perspective on the wrestling business and his history and growth to ultimately become Diamond Dallas Page. Gonna have to wait and tune in next week for part 2, the conclusion of my talk with Diamond Dallas Page. So I want to thank you very much for tuning in, streaming, downloading, however it is that you got this particular episode of Just the Worst Podcast. Just the Worst Wrestling Podcast, sorry to be more specific. You can follow us on Twitter at JTW Podcast. Also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/justtheworstpodcast. You can find me on Twitter at InfamousKid, as well as on Facebook, facebook.com/BillyTheKid. And once again, we're still getting it constructed. JustTheWorstPodcast.com will be along hopefully sooner rather than later. And once that is up and running, you'll be able to grab all your episodes, set your subscriptions for iTunes, Stitcher. All the feeds will be created and you'll have them all, as well as pulling everything off of SoundCloud, as I'm sure you're doing right now. So once again, I want to thank Diamond Dallas Page for taking part in this episode. He'll be back again, once again, for part 2 of our conversation next week. As well as I will be back with a report of my experience up at Full Sail for NXT TakeOver Respect. I'm your host, Billy Donnelly. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week. Right now, Just the Worst Podcast, episode number 4. It's a 3 count on this one. I'm out. Peace. Just the Worst Wrestling Podcast, episode number 4, has been a presentation of Just the Worst Podcast.